Support WrestleTalk!
Click the thumbs up.
When it comes to wrestling, specifically in WWE, there is one name that has taken on almost mythic properties for an army of loyal fans: CM Punk. What does CM even stand for? Chicago made? Chick magnet? Chuck Mosley? Can't MMA? Too soon? With news that Phil Brooks' next career move is to become a colour commentator for CFFC MMA and not return to wrestling as many had hoped, we take a look back at the defining moments of his illustrious career in sports entertainment. I am El Fakador Laurie Blake. Look in my eyes. What do you see? A list of CM history. Number 10. Cashing in Money in the Bank the first time. Back in 2008, cashing in the Money in the Bank contract was a relatively new concept. The deed had only been done 3 times before, twice by Edge and one by Robert Van Dam. Essentially, we were a far cry from Baron Corbin cocking it up, or Mr. Monster in the Bank politely asking for a match. Please, God, give me a match. Roman Reigns, I'm gonna get a match from you. Get these hands, sign a contract. Stuff. So, when Edge was assaulted by Batista on the Raw after Night of Champions and left laying in the ring, fans were initially a little bit confused when Punk's music hit. But once he walked out with referee Mike Chioda in tow, people knew he meant business. I mean, he was carrying a briefcase which screams the word business, and no amount of just being in your pants can take that away. After a quick GTS and the old 1-2-3, Punk picked up his very first world title win in WWE. And it was a shocking rise to the top, considering that he had only signed on with WWE Developmental a few years previously. Considering that he was champion in Ring of Honor before joining WWE, it's no surprise that he was pushed, but boy, this was fast for the time. Number 9, winning the Money in the Bank. Again, twice, however you want to phrase it. And if once wasn't enough, CM Punk is the only person to have ever won the briefcase twice in the actual ladder match, having climbed to the top at both WrestleMania 24 and 25. Once again, he used the briefcase to kick someone while they were down, this time cashing in on Jeff Hardy. What an absolute cult personality. In this instance, Hardy had just toppled Edge at Extreme Rules when Punk popped on down to the ring and sent Jeff to nap time, go bye-bye land, or whatever he's been calling it, making himself the World Heavyweight Champion yet again. And given that being a 2-time Money in the Bank winner is one of the few records of Punk's that WWE don't seem to be trying to wipe off the face of the planet, makes it kind of even more special in this instance. Unless, of course, we're counting the whole what happened with Carmella as a 2-time victory. Number 8, the 434-day title reign. Here's a record that WWE are trying to completely scrub out of existence. So much so that they gave the old tardy boy Brock Lesnar a 504-day reign as Universal Champion to make him the longest reigning champ of the modern era. The difference between Punk and Brock, though, is about 100 pounds of pure meaty man ham, and the fact that Punk actually defended his title during his reign. During his run with the belt, Punk managed to see off the likes of Orton and Cena, which is pretty darn impressive considering how they were being put over at the time. Of course, as you would expect, the champ eventually found himself stuck between a rock and The Rock, losing the title to Dwayno at the Royal Rumble in 2013. Number 7, the Straight Edge Society. Described as a villainous alliance by Wikipedia, who is dead posh, the Straight Edge Society was a stable headed by CM Punk between 2009 and 2010. It featured Luke Gallows, Serena Deeb, Joey Mercury, and later The Big Show for some reason, because he just joins other people's stables now. Doesn't need the bar. The idea was fairly simple, a militant organisation that denounced anyone that didn't live up to a straight-edged lifestyle. Basically, they were dead fun at parties. During their 10-month run, one highlight was the 2010 Royal Rumble where Punk entered third, giving an intermittent sermon as he eliminated any and all comers while saying he was better because he was straight-edged and didn't have caffeine or whatever it is. It was, as you would expect from Punk, a brilliant piece of mic work, but was unfortunately stifled a little bit by the arrival of Triple H, who was better than everyone else because he was telling them what to do backstage. The society eventually disbanded in 2010 after Serena was released from her contract, and Luke Gallows was also released shortly after, thus collapsing the stable. Number 6, starting in UFC. After his widely publicised departure from WWE in 2014, CM Punk was on the lookout for some new career moves. After dabbling in comics, he found his way to the world of mixed martial arts, because the pen might be mightier than the sword, but the punch and the rear naked choke are mightier than CM Punk. Brooks was a huge fan of the sport, but few people kind of expected him to step inside the octagon himself. And then after he stepped in, few thought he would be stepping out under his own steam, to be honest. Because yes, unfortunately for Punk, MMA doesn't seem like it's his true calling. After a decimation at the hands of Mickey Gall in his first bout, and a more spirited showing in another loss to Mike Jackson, UFC President Dana White said he won't allow Punk to fight in his company anymore. So Punk may not be getting back into the cage, but he's still at the zoo? Something? As it was announced on November 8th that he's taken up a commentary position with CFFC, a New Jersey-based cage fighting promotion. Number 5, leaving with the WWE title. Now this was a super cool moment. In early 2011, CM Punk announced that his WWE contract would be expiring on June 17th, which just happened to be the same day as the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Really fortunate, because otherwise this story wouldn't work at all. Punk vowed to best champion John Cena at the event and then leave WWE with the title in tow. And guess what? That is exactly what he did. Even knocking out Alberto Del Rio, who came down with a Money in the Bank briefcase trying to make a Hail Mary cash-in to keep the title in the company, before Punk with the belt hopped the barricade and left through a hometown crowd that was absolutely popping off, man. It was obviously all a storyline in the end, but it really felt at the time like Punk was one of the first to battle against the authority and win. And I mean, props to Vince too for some solid face acting in this bit. Number 4, walking out on WWE. For real this time, not kayfabe. Who would have thought that the 2014 Royal Rumble would have been the last time we ever saw CM Punk in a WWE ring? But it was, because Punk suffered a concussion at the hands of R-Truth during this match, and the decision was taken to pull him from the contest. So then the big old red machine clicked into gear and rather anticlimactically tipped him out. Cool. Punk has since explained that after the match he met with Triple H and Vince McMahon and told them he wasn't going to wrestle for them again, and just left. And for reals this time, no kayfabe. This led to him being storyline suspended from the company, and he was never seen again. And all of his records and accomplishments get slowly wiped from the history books as we completely punk wash them of all of his involvement. And then WWE chose a lovely day to sack him. Number 3, sacked on his wedding day. Here is a list of the types of posts you are allowed to receive on your wedding day. Wedding cards with money in, wedding cards without money in from your stingier friends, wedding cards without money in from someone who already bought you a toaster, water bills, because they're automated and they didn't know it was your wedding day. Now here is a list of all the types of posts you should not be receiving on your wedding day. All other post, but especially a letter saying that your contract has been terminated. But that's exactly what happened to Punk on June 13th, 2014, as he was set to marry AJ Lee. By the time the big day rolled around, Punk had not been seen on WWE TV for over 4 months. Phil later said that he had spoken to Triple H shortly before his wedding, and Hunter had said that he would call Punk to discuss after the wedding. However, instead of a call, he got a letter telling him that he was no longer employed by WWE. Congratulations, a wedding and a divorce on the same day. Number 2, winning the lawsuit. It was the trial of 2018. For people who were fans of wrestling, everyone else was just like, is it real though? CM Punk took on WWE Dr. Chris Amann in the courts after Punk openly accused Amann of neglect in his duties towards him, most notably misdiagnosing a staph infection on his leg. Amann naturally disputed this and attempted to sue Punk and Colt Cabana for defamation, as it was on Colt's podcast that Punk made the claims in the first place. After several days of court proceedings, it was concluded that Punk and Cabana had done no wrong. This was obviously a massive victory for the two, as a behemoth like WWE losing a court battle against just 2 blokes is almost unheard of. However, the drama didn't end there, as Punk and Cabana fell out over legal fees, but that's probably a whole another issue to get into another time. Number 1, the pipe bomb. We all know how this one goes. Man comes out on stage, sits down cross-legged, and shoots on the company he works for on their biggest television program. This kind of ended up being a setup for CM Punk leaving with a title come Money in the Bank in 2011. Punk interjected himself in a tables match between champion John Cena and R-Truth, helping Truth to score the win. Then, grabbing a microphone, he said he had a lot of things to get off his chest. He said he was the best in the world, but John Cena was better than him at kissing Vince McMahon's ass. As good as Hulk Hogan at kissing ass. As good as Dwayne at kissing ass. He broke the fourth wall, said he was underpromoted, said the fans were part of the problem, mentioned the curse words of New Japan and Ring of Honor, said hi to Colt Cabana because they were still mates at the time. He said the company wouldn't even be better if Vince was dead because it'd be taken over by his stupid daughter, doofus son-in-law, and the rest of his idiot family. Oi, that is the best in the world Shane McMahon to you, Mr. Punk. And then, just as he was about to unload a for-real story on Vince McMahon, the mic cut out, cementing this as a truly legendary promo, and one fans have been trying to work out whether it's real or fake for years since. So, that was bloomin' shocking. But how about Survivor Series? Have there been shocking moments there too? Well, there have actually, tons of them. Click the video on screen now if you want to find out about them, and give us a subscribe to stay up to date on all of the latest wrestling news. I've been El Fakador. That was Lucha.